Hi everyone, it's Neve here and welcome to the Scrap FX YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making a pair of earrings and an earring holder using the new October release from Scrap FX. So I'm starting off with these skeleton tree circle medallions, and they come in a pack of 3. I'm just tracing out around them and cutting them out of black card. So this is going to form the back of the earring, just something to seal everything together when I'm finished. You can use a craft knife to do this. I was quite happy just to sort of cut them out with a pair of scissors, but any way you feel comfortable. So now I'm just going in with some bronze golden paint. It's a fluid acrylic, so it goes on really nicely, and I'm just putting on, using a paintbrush to put this on. The reason I'm using a paintbrush is it helps to go in between the cracks, and you can see I can go around the edges and so on, just to sort of give it that metallic look, but still having the chipboard. Now, you might ask, why would you make earrings out of chipboard? But particularly for me, larger size circles, these are about 4 centimeters, I think, are really heavy. I find them really heavy on my ears, so by having them made out of chipboard makes it a lot easier. So this is a piece of scrap gel paper that I had been printing on, and it was in really autumny colours, so I thought that I would use that for my background of my image. I'm using this new leaf stamp from Scrap FX and some archival ink just to add some detail or pattern into the background. Choosing my favourite parts. I also used some of the leftover paint that I had brushed onto the background as well. Now this step's pretty important if you're using creating wearable art. I used the micro glaze. This is from Judikins, which I'm not sure if they actually exist anymore, but I know Ranger has got micro glaze wax as well, and basically what it does is it waterproofs paper. Make sure it's completely sealed and it's not going to buckle or do anything strange. Now you'll notice when I did heat that up, it does melt into the paper. That's fine, and I'm just leaving that to dry. And I'm going to glaze both the front and the back of the earrings, and that's going to make them a little bit more waterproof. Now obviously I'm not going to dunk them into a bath of water, but if I get caught in the rain or something like that happens, they're also not going to go to pieces, which is really important. So I'm just using some regular glue to glue them all together and making a sandwich, trimming off any extra cardboard. I do tend to find using my craft knife a little bit easier to get right in by the edges when I'm doing these sorts of things. So as I was doing my first one, I didn't cut it very well, and I decided I wanted to cut out a second piece that was just a little bit close to the edge. I'm also going in with a little bit of paint pen just to seal up the edges, and then I tried some of this copper tape and I didn't like how it looked, so I think I ended up leaving it in the end, but I was just trying out a few different things to see how it went. So I've just got a metal awl here just to poke a hole into the background so that a jump ring will go through it. So jump rings are fairly easy to put in. You can get them from Spotlight, you can get them from most places that sell sort of jewellery findings. They're one of the most basic things for jewellery, so you find them most anywhere. It is handy if you've got 2 pairs of pliers to open them, and open them at 45 degrees from each other and then close them back up again. Don't try and pull them apart, because that actually destroys the circle. If you pull them away from each other and put them back together, the edges will meet up again. So I'm actually putting on 2 jump rings, and that will make sure that the earring hangs nicely, and I can get my earring loop that you can see there, and I'm putting that on with the second jump ring, and it's just going to help it sit nice and flat against my ear in the right way. And now I'm going in and sealing the back with the micro glaze. Now I could have done that before I put the jewellery findings in, it doesn't really matter. I forgot to do it, so I'm doing it now. I'm also putting a little bit around the edges, just again to make sure that they're nice and sealed. So as I was doing this, I thought, I really like this, but I wanted to have something sort of to display it on. I thought, oh, why not make a jewellery holder to go with it? So I found one of these little boxes from the Tim Holtz Shadow Box collection, I think. They're very sturdy little boxes, and while I love doing those little shadow box compartments, I do find that these ones in particular are really deep. and it's really hard to sort of see into the background. So I've tended to use them for things like this instead. What I've done is I've applied double-sided tape all over the box, and now I'm applying some variegated gold leaf. So any sort of gold leaf will do, but I really like this variegated stuff because you get this beautiful sort of gradation of colour, and particularly because I don't know why, because we're in the start of spring, but I've got this really autumn vibe going on with these pieces. So just this mix of gold leaf in particular really reminds me of autumn. And as you can see, I'm just putting on the larger pieces and rubbing off the excess. Now, any of the excess that you can see on my desk doesn't get wasted. It goes back into my little tub to use again in future. And you can see me sort of wiping it up and putting it back onto the bits that don't have any covering on. By using the double-sided tape is really, really handy because it will stick to all the little bits. So you can sort of really see where you've got gaps. When I finish that, I'm just going to sit it aside. So I'm just cleaning up my area somewhat because these things do tend to get a bit messy when you're in the middle of making. And I'm going to put my tree in. So I'm cutting in a hole. I'm using my metal awl to do that and my craft knife. Now with this piece it worked really, really well, but it's got a little bit of a kink on the end, which was really good getting in, but I couldn't get it back out again, and so I ended up having to cut it off. I decided that I wanted to just paint this matte black because I didn't want it to take away from the earrings that would be hanging on it and the beautiful base that was on. I wanted this to be fairly plain. So this is one of the new skeleton tree pieces that are from Scrap FX this time as well. So just really quickly painting on some black gesso and then heat setting it, and then I'll turn it over and do the other side as well. Now if you didn't have any black paint, you could use a black permanent marker to do this, anything to just to get it all black. As I said before, I like using paintbrushes on these thin pieces because I can make sure I get the edges. I have a real problem when I can see the raw edges of things, so I do like to make sure that they're all covered. So once I've done that, I'm just drying it off again and making sure it is set. Now the foam that you can see here is, excuse me, magic foam from my $2 shop. Any foam will do. If you've got florist foam, that will do the same job. But what I've found when I've been doing things like this, three-dimensional things that I want to stand independently, is to give them a bit more firmness as I put them into the box and to make sure they stand where they're supposed to. If I've actually got some foam to insert, that holds it in place, which is really, really important. You can, as I said, use florist foam, the magic foam. I got a box for $2 and it goes a long way and it's really easy to cut. That works really well as well. So I've got some leftover sticker paper and I decided to stamp out these lovely leaves again in green as just a little bit of a decorative feature around the outside of my box. So you can see me peeling off sticker paper as I go around to stick this onto my little earring holder. And that's basically the project. I did actually end up, when I had my earrings sort of hanging on this little box, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more to them, so I used some of the Scrap FX transparent butterflies and I added those on with some glue. I also added to the top of the box a little chipboard saying that said "Finders Keepers" because I thought that was cute with the jewellery findings. And you can see that beautiful gold metallic as you scroll up past. So I was really happy with how these worked out. I hope you have a go at making some jewellery with the Scrap FX chipboard. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye for now.